Powerplay foregrounds the digital art scene in Africa and presents work by digital artists who are from or based in Nigeria, South Africa, Zimbabwe, and the UK. Discussing the use of technology in creating a sense of identity and place within a digitized world, the artists in the exhibition look at the relationships of power experienced in varying ways. The works address isolation and alienation, societal bias around gender and race, transformation of being, the politics of borders and migration, dark markets of trade, and communities who work outside of mainstream economy, taking place both online and off-site. The multi-sited exhibition format brings to light the fluidity between the virtual and the real. How is power asserted over our decisions and movements? What are the consequences? And how can we think about control differently? Isaac Kariuki's work, Precious Metals, I Come Here Every Day, makes comparisons between the sale of counterfeit goods on the black market to the displacement of people living outside of mainstream economy. Falling between the cracks of what's legal and illegal is the grey market, a loose term for goods bought and sold outside of authorised distribution channels, like a warehouse worker selling off excess inventory of cell phones, handbags, electronics and groceries. For socio-economic and geopolitical reasons, many people are encircled within the grey market every day. These people live in illegally rented homes, they work unregulated jobs that don't ask for identity cards, and they use family members' information instead. Precious Metals, I Come Here Every Day, considers this dichotomy as not just arbitrary rules placed upon the less fortunate, but a space that is in a constant state of flux. Displaying wristwatches containing or wholly made from metals brought through the dark web and the grey market, the product displays the meticulous and often volatile nature of watchmaking, as well as living in the grey market. Such is the case for an experienced watchmaker, as well as the person selling it on the street. King Deb's Ritual Dance 1 is a fully computer-generated art film. In essence, it is a digital augmentation of African traditions of song and dance as a means of attaining spirituality. The film speaks to the idea of translating primitive and traditional practices in the new age of information and technology. It is meant to unpack the idea of the African people accessing the liberty to be open and familiarise themselves with the past, present and future within the mixed reality space. The artwork is a celebration of identity, as well as the internet and digital media, which are used as tools that can even out the playing field for the socio-political climate. The film features an African princess by the name of Swazi. She is clothed in charcoal and crimson regalia, which is meant for healers and shamans. Her face is partially obscured with a silky headpiece cascading down her face. This is meant to shield her view from worldly interferences, but still be able to see some light in her trance-inducing dance. The spinning calligraphy on the back wall, written in yellow and gold paint, is meant to further summon the ancestors in the metaphysical realm to join and guide the healer in prayer. The Lord's Prayer is what a keen observer would read upon deciphering the cryptic glyphs within the calligraphy. Mr. Color's The Creation is inspired by the creation story of Adam, and tells the story of the emergence of a new type of android, one with consciousness and sentient feelings. Energy particles are formed from shared consciousness and the transfer of energies, both bodily and spiritually. The work depicts how the sharing of these energies can accumulate to aid the birth of something new and powerful. Tito Aderemi Ibitola uses GIFs as a medium to make connections between migration and desirability of space, playing on the political categorization of the term alien and how the artist feels about how her own black body is read. I Was Here functions as a commentary on access. In her own words, the artist says, The impetus being the recent publication to the guide of the best places to live, and learning from someone who lived in the best place to live that where I am from, Lagos, is one of the worst places to live, second only to Damascus and another city under siege. This got me thinking about the immigration crisis, neo-colonialism, viability of passports, and the idea of who is welcome and who is not. I play on the political categorization term alien, which is more often how my own black body is read, and imagine that I am truly alien from the great beyond. Kumbarai Makumbes, It Was a Mix of Things, follows the journey of a human undergoing the process of ascension, resulting in their transformation into an infomorph, a biological entity or consciousness existing online. This is all in an attempt to formulate effective alternative transcendental politics, one that doesn't involve the malpractices and disheartening utilizations of technology currently evident in our socio-political landscape. Have we made it apparent that we as humans cannot cognitively conceptualize and actualize a wholly inclusive and sustainable future for ourselves? It seems we've positioned technology and nature as opposites, where one is assumed to prevail over the other. But what if the merging of technology and nature could be our gate to transcendence? How about we consider technology as a means to an end instead of the end? Mbakisi Sibanda's work, Isolation, is inspired by the effects the internet has on society today. The social integration, mind control, and cybercrime are the great darkness of the modern web. His work portrays the feeling of being isolated online whilst also being hyper-connected. The contradiction here plays out in the form of a new video work and accompanying print identifying the dark nature of how the internet affects mental and physical health, as well as social disintegration and social anxiety. Vincent Bezuidenhout's work questions copyright as a tool of power. His work, DVD RIP, originated during the rise of illegal file sharing or pirating of movies online. This imperfect process often led to the corruption of digital information, which would briefly flash across the screen as abstract geometric patterns, large, brightly coloured pixels, and image artifacts. In the spirit of Haroon Farocki's operative images, and aesthetically reminiscent of glitch art, the artist's screen captures were employed in order to create a photographic representation of this phenomena. The video work is a live recording where the artist scrubbed through the footage, constantly shifting between certain points in the timeline, creating a new narrative with the existing material. His other work, JSO_pics, consists of images the artist appropriated from the Instagram accounts of members of the Joint Special Operations Command, USA. The faces of all the soldiers in these photographs have been redacted before being posted online. These images are imbued with all of the characteristics of traditional masculinity, yet the act of self-censorship reveals elements of fear and shame. The artist created an online shop where the images are used on cheap commodities like mugs and cushions, disarming the photographs by reducing them to the most basic elements of American consumerism. Scumboy's work shows avatars in various states of entrapment, both physically and mentally. Human emotion is expressed in two ways here, through a writhing body unable to comprehend the situation, and through positive movement in a body dancing in the acceptance of being powerless. I Can't shows one phase of the human condition and how it deals with being trapped. This piece conjures a melancholic feeling. The character is trapped and helpless. There is no effort to escape. No, no, no is an expression of anger and desperation. This piece is fueled completely by human emotion on the opposite spectrum of I Can't. There is pure emotion and fear. Yeah, okay is the final phase of the human condition within a loss of power. There is pure emotion, much like the previous works. However, the strongest emotion shown here is acceptance. The character portrayed has learnt to deal with the loss of power, and therefore he is given power.